What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Upstate Talks, episode 6. We got a lot to talk about. We got the Baker Mayfield trade, recap of the NBA draft, honestly, we're just gonna sit here for 25, 30 minutes, no structured. We're just gonna ramble off the top. This is gonna be a really fun episode. You might hear a little rant come from me. I don't want to spoil it yet. You'll have to stay tuned and listen to that rant. But I'm happy to have Dale back here on the videos. I know everyone's been missing him. But check out the MLB videos. I've been doing them pretty frequently, almost every single day. So check them out. But let's see what Dale's got to say.
Yeah, not only that, got a little NBA Summer League action going on over for the Patreon members. So a lot of people have been signing up for the Patreon recently. We're doing that summer sale for only $10 for MLB and UFC. Not to mention we have the UFC video coming out on Friday, which is going to be dope. We do prize picks and bets for that as well. So if you want to get into the action, hop over to the Patreon. Got a lot of cool stuff going on, and we're always, trying to dive into some other things, NFL future bets, stuff like that as well, going to be going on over there. So thank you to everyone that signed up so far. And yeah, I mean, you're really not going to miss out as we go on into the NBA and NFL seasons come fall. So I did get the chance to watch the summer league games. I watched Chet Holmgren in his debut. I got out late last night. I when I came home, pretty much that Thunder and Jazz game was the only game on. It was literally a runaway, but it was nice to see Josh Giddey do his thing and obviously Chet do his thing as well. Over on the Jazz side of thing, I didn't really, I wasn't really too impressed with some of the guys. They were all relatively average. No one really had like a spectacular game. But I do want to dive into some summer league stuff, as well over on like Prize Picks and stuff like that. I think that'd be wicked cool to do in the meantime while we have no NBA. So, yeah, Reoz, I don't know if you caught any of the summer league games or if you're interested in watching summer league at all, but there's a lot of people who have really good summer leagues and then they don't do much, come season time. So I'm just kind of wondering what your opinion is on the summer league, and if you plan on watching it at all.
Gonna be honest with you, I haven't caught any of the summer league stuff. I obviously saw that Chet just was breaking records with his performance, but to be honest with you, as a Spurs fan, I'm not excited for NBA. I'm not gonna watch summer league. I'm a little bummed out. I lost my guy Dejounte Murray. I thought their draft was absolutely horrendous at number 9. And you know what? This could come back and bite me, but I think I told you this, or I told somebody else. We basically drafted a worse version of Draymond Green at number 9 out of Baylor. I mean, the dude, I don't even think he started. He might have came off the bench. He averaged like 7 points, had like 3 rebounds, 3 assists on the season. I mean, just an awful draft. I don't really know what the Spurs are doing. It's awful. So I'm not ready for the NBA season whatsoever. We're gonna probably tank and be the worst team, but I'm ready to do a ton of prize pick stuff. That's the only thing that's gonna keep me watching the NBA this season. I'll tell you that.
Well, it's nice, kind of seeing the Spurs set that reset button in a way, though. I mean, just the years where they were dominant. It's not even years. Over the span of like the league changing, they were dominant, and the fact that they're going into rebuild. We'll see how long Pop goes for. But the fact that they're going into the rebuild mode, trading away their star player in Dejounte, just I think it's cool, man. There's a little bit to be excited about. Keldon Johnson. We'll see what Josh Primo's got. There's a little bit to hang your head on here. However, it's going to be a disappointing season, but that's okay, man. I mean, this 2023 draft should be phenomenal. I mean, there's some psychopaths that have mocks out already, way too early mocks for the 2023 draft. But take a look at some of these prospects, and a lot of these guys are highly coveted recruits coming out of high school as well. So it's going to be a really solid draft. I think the last couple of drafts have been really solid. I think this one is definitely going to be one of those drafts as well, the one that we just had. Seeing what Chet did. Keegan Murray had a really solid game. I know that people didn't like the Kings, taking him, but he had an amazing game, and we'll see what the rest of the guys do. So I'm just really excited for this season. I'm a Wizards fan, and we don't really have
Allegedly.
like Allegedly, okay, but you know, we like it's almost worse though, Reoz, because like we're in like that no man's land. Like in a way, I know we signed Brad Beal to a big extension, but like in a way, it's like, would you rather be tanking? Like it's almost the same thing. It's like we push for the eighth seed every year, and like you're gonna get bounced in the first. So it's kind of like you have something to be a little excited about if you win a series. That's awesome, but it's like you kind of know where you are. So I just like I support teams that like who just decide to blow it up. And I think the Wizards might be in that situation next year where they just blow it up. But now they really can't trade Beal because his contracts. I mean, they can, but not for as much as they could have this past season. Um, the fact that now he's making $250 million. So I don't know. It's that weird no man's land. I felt like that. Like a lot of teams were stuck in. Like Indiana was stuck in that spot. I feel like Charlotte can find themselves in that spot in the next couple of years if they don't start like kind of making some moves. Some teams out west find themselves in that spot. We'll see what Minnesota does now. What do you think about that trade with Gobert?
I don't even know. I mean, I saw a ton of memes where Karl Anthony Towns is super excited. He doesn't have to play center. He could just shoot a ton of threes. But to go back to your point, it'll be nice if the 2023 draft is awesome because the Spurs are going to have 12 or 15 first round picks. So we'll probably draft everyone. I'd rather be a Wizards fan right now because at least you have your star to attract maybe one or two big names. Right now, my Spurs can't attract anybody unless we just throw a ton of money at them. But I think that Gold trade is going to be kind of crazy. I mean, you get somebody down low that's going to grab you 15, 17 rebounds a game to pair him up with Karl Anthony Towns. And we even saw Anthony Edwards grab a ton of boards. I mean, we were on him for his rebounds over on Prize Picks. And I mean, he went on a stretch for like 2 weeks where he was grabbing uh, 8 or 9 boards a game. So I don't know how they're going to pair together. We know the controversy over Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. I thought one of them was going to get moved last year after that whole COVID um, debacle with Rudy Gobert touching the mic and all of that stuff, but he didn't get moved. They had a pretty average season, but when you have that Utah Jazz team just come up short every single season, you knew someone was getting moved, and more likely than not, it's going to be Gobert than Donovan Mitchell. You can build around Donovan Mitchell. You can't really build against Gobert, who is only good at defense and grabbing rebounds. I mean, there's occasions where he gets you 20 points, but those are so rare.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was maybe not the worst, but I'd probably argue top 10 worst NBA trades of all time. Like I would go
I
that
could see
far.
that.
Maybe not necessarily like the fit, but I do think fit plays a role. And you look at it from like the basketball side of things. I think it's horrible, because teams are gonna stretch them out and just beat Gobert off the bounce. Gobert's so bad as a perimeter defender, and as the league continues to go small, and you watch the playoffs and how teams are closing with small ball lineups. I mean, you saw at one point the Suns like not even have DeAndre Ayton like on the floor like late into a game. Like that's how small these teams were going, and the fact that like you brought in another center who cannot defend the perimeter. I mean, yeah, if you there is like the flip side of it. It's like when you decide to play small against the Timberwolves, will they beat you? But I feel like Edwards' timeline. I feel like Edwards is more. Maybe you feel differently about this, but this is where we can talk about it. I feel like Edwards is more the superstar to be of this team. I think Towns, he is what he is at this point. Fantastic player, but he's lazy. I think the amount of mistakes he made in that series against the Grizzlies cost them the series. I feel like that series was theirs for the taking, and the fact that he was so boneheaded. Mind you, that was like his second time being in the playoffs. Um, but Anthony Edwards was the guy late in the game creating his own shot, hitting the big shots, having monster performances, and I feel like they're trying to capitalize kind of in between. I feel like Russell's worthless. I feel like I'd rather roll out like a Tyus Jones rather than like, roll out Russell. Even the dude that was coming off the bench at the time played better than Russell. I feel like I don't even think anyone really wants D'Angelo Russell. But besides the fact, I think as Anthony Edwards is not even 21 years old. It's like he needs to come out, and it's just not the right timeline. Like you know what I'm saying? He's not like, usually players peak at 26, 27, 28 going into 30, 30, 31, but this is just too early for him. Like if he has a down year, we still know he's still going to be a superstar. So it's just a weird fit, and like the fact that you're paying a guy who's never been All NBA first team, All NBA second team one time, a couple third teams, and like obviously defensive player of the year, $50 million, in 2026 is unreal. And you gave up five first round, like three first round picks, two swaps, and like a whole bunch of stuff. Jared Vanderbilt and like stuff for this guy is just unreal, unreal. And I just didn't see it coming. And let me ask you this: do you think this wins them another playoff series, or wins them a playoff series?
Yeah, I definitely think it wins them a playoff series. I also think adding Gobert moves them up in the Western Conference. I think instead of playing in the playing game, just barely making the playoffs, I think they get a 5 or 4 seed and just get to sit back and relax and watch the playing games. I mean, don't get me wrong. Um, the league is staring away from two big men down low, but I mean, Gobert is you said his accolades, but he's just when he's on the court, the rim is protected. You know what he can do on the defensive end of it. I don't really think going into it they were looking for someone to score. I mean, they struggled on defense. I don't know the statistics, but they were giving up a ton of points all season. I think Carl Anthony Towns is going to score. I actually didn't even think about the point where Anthony Edwards, yeah, he is going to be the superstar of this team if he's not already. I mean, he's that guy that we saw drop 50. He's going to be a superstar in this league for a while, and I think it almost gives him a little extra boost. Like, all right, they're trying to get another guy on here to help me out, where I don't have to go out and get 50 and shot everybody from 1 through 5 on defense. I can rely on the two big men down low. Russell's going to do his thing. He's going to get me the ball, but honestly, I do think this trade was really beneficial for this team. I mean, when you have 3, maybe 4 all stars on your team now, I mean, it's really tough to kind of not say it was a good trade.
Yeah, but the package, it was more or less like the package. I mean, you have a guy in Jared Vanderbilt who was a monster rebounder and who we would target all the time for player props when Carl Anthony
Without a
Towns was off
doubt.
the floor. Vanderbilt was fantastic. You take him out of the mix when you're telling me you can't go flip a guy. I mean, this is obviously a very lopsided trade, but to bring in a guy such as like a Nicholas Claxton or like a Jackson Hayes who can kind of do the same thing for a fraction of what you're going to pay Gobert. A fraction. And these are picks down the road, but who's going to say in 2029 when you trade a 2029 first round pick that Towns doesn't want out, you know, Russell's a shell of himself and Edwards wants to leave because Minnesota's a small market. So like when I look at all the things, and it's like I guess like the flip side of it in a way is like, okay, we're Minnesota, we're not a free agent destination. We got to try to make these people, our stars happy. We're going to be selling tickets, but I still feel like I can name 5 teams in the West that are better, and that will be better. But I do think Minnesota is a 6 seed. That's my prediction. Minnesota comes in at a 6 seed between the Clippers, the Warriors, the Suns, the Nuggets. Those are 4 teams right there, and probably the Mavericks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you can argue any other team you want with the Pelicans ascending, a healthy Blazers and the Lakers. It's just you tell me. So that's what I'm saying. That's just all I'm saying. That I don't feel like it pushes them to that point. I would have rather just left it alone, found a guy that's serviceable, and let the dudes still ascend. Let them learn from their mistakes and still ascend and not give up so much capital. Because now the trades are screwed. What is the package for Kevin Durant? 6 firsts and stuff.
Oh, it's gonna be absolutely ridiculous. I don't even want to think about it unless my Spurs are thinking about snagging KD, which I know that's not even in the realm of possibility. It looks like the Heat and the Suns. Maybe the Blazers are in that conversation, but to go back to your point, I almost have to disagree with you. I don't think with this Rudy Gobert trade, I don't think they're really thinking about a long term plan. I think they want to win now, and I think out of everybody in the free agency, everybody who they could trade for, they just thought Gobert is going to be a difference maker. And honestly, I could see it. I mean, only time will tell. Only time's going to tell with everything in the NBA between the draft, between all these moves that are going down. But this is too much Rudy Gobert talk for me. Let's jump into something where I want to get your opinion. Who do you think is the more worst player you want on your team? Baker Mayfield or Ben Simmons? Because honest to God, I forgot Ben Simmons was on the Nets. There's been so much Kyrie and Kevin Durant talk. I forgot they acquired Ben Simmons. I totally forgot he was even on this Nets team.
So we'll see with Ben Simmons. Between these two guys, I mean, between two different sports, there's so many different scenarios. Excuse me, I was gonna sneeze.
They almost feel like the same exact player though.
In a way,
They bring their teams down. No one wants to play with them. The Browns go out. After this we'll talk about how bad of an organization are the Browns.
well, it's essentially I wouldn't say Ben necessarily brings down your team. I'd say that team was kind of a mess all year. Simmons, he was kind of going. I mean, at what time in Philly was he really a disservice to the team besides when he didn't take the layup? In a way, it's just like he showed up. He was always healthy. He was ready to play. Wasn't a distraction really off the court. I mean, he had some things with like the Jenners or the Kardashians or whatever. However, it's just like you know Baker's a very outspoken guy. Baker is not afraid to say what he has on his mind. He's a very social media personality. You see him all the time in the commercials and stuff. I mean, it depends what you're looking for out of a quarterback. But then again, I guess you can say like I guess you're kind of comparing like the point guard quarterback thing here. Um, but no, I guess I would take like Simmons, between the two guys. But who does? I mean, there's a chance Simmons just doesn't play this coming up year, or who knows? Who knows what's up with Simmons? I know for one thing though is that Baker wants to play football. I think that he's matured a little bit over the situation. I've been watching some of his interviews, and he's been going on a couple of different podcasts, and I've been listening to what he's been saying. He does seem like he's kind of moving past the situation with the Browns. I don't think that it was like the best way to kind of end that relationship. I do think Baker gave them a shot, brought them to a conference finals. Like that's absolutely amazing for an organization that struggled to win 4 games year in year out. And they gave up a monster trade for a guy that there is a slim chance that he might never even play. So when you kind of look
Who,
at things
Ben
like
Simmons?
no, Deshaun Watson,
Yeah.
they gave up on a guy Baker Mayfield for a guy and gave a guaranteed money to a guy who may never even play a snap. So it's just awkward to me. But between the fit, of Baker and Carolina, we'll see. I mean, he's definitely the guy. In my opinion, there. They got Matt Rule, who could be on like the hot seat after this season. I'm really excited to see what they do. If we get a healthy CMC, that's gonna be amazing. They got some, DJ Moore. They got some guys. Robbie Anderson for sure. We'll see what happens. It's not like Baker's going out there and the huge arm, but if Baker's shoulder feels good and everything feels good, like he says it feels good, I do think he's gonna have a pretty solid season. He's not like a 40 touchdown guy by any means, but he can do some things for you and he can win some games. I like Baker Mayfield.
You think he's just gonna walk right into Carolina and beat out Sam Darnold?
Oh yeah, I think the rookie that they drafted has a chance to beat Sam Darnold. Why would you roll out with Sam Darnold? They came from the same draft. Baker's accomplished way more. Uh, Darnold throws a pretty ball here and there, but at the same time, it's like Darnold had his shot. I mean, was Baker more fortunate? But in a way, I was gonna say is Baker has been more fortunate than him, but in a way, Baker got drafted to one of the worst franchises that the league has seen in a while. So, and he kind of turned that thing around. I mean,
Well, so did Sam Darnold getting drafted by the Jets.
yes, but the more recent in the more recent time, I mean, we've seen the Jets when they had Mark Sanchez make it to, and they had Brett Favre, and they made it to the conference finals with Mark Sanchez. I mean, they were a couple snaps away from a Super Bowl. We haven't seen we've watched the Browns go through 17 quarterbacks before finding one. So like just the fact that like what Baker did for the franchise, um, and he's got some game, man. Like I mean, will there be a little bit of a battle? Yes. It's not like he's gonna walk in, but by the time they get through training camp, I do think it's Baker's job.
Who they drafted? Willis, right? Out of
No,
Liberty.
Ritter. Or no, not Ritter.
Or,
What's his name? From Ole Miss.
oh, I can't.
Corral,
I
Matt
can't.
Corral.
I mean, he throws a good ball too. I don't know. We saw Sam Darnold early on in the season look like a top 10 quarterback. I mean, he was leading this team like we've never seen Sam Darnold play football before ever in his career. So I think the injury he got kind of derailed him, where he had to take a couple steps back. But it is what it is. Ben Simmons is just shockingly um, so unnoticeable nowadays. It's kind of crazy because he was always the talk, and now uh, being on this team. And like you said, I wouldn't be shocked if Ben Simmons sat out this year saying he can't play. So not a big Ben Simmons fan. I think Baker Mayfield is good. I don't know why he would go to Carolina. I think that's an awful fit for him. He's just trading bad teams. I mean, Carolina's not the best team to go to. They don't really have. They have the team, but it's really going to come down if Christian McCaffrey is healthy. Because I mean, a great running back does everything for a quarterback. You could be a horrible quarterback. I mean, we see it with Tannehill every single year. Derrick Henry just puts Tannehill around his back and runs for 4 touchdowns and 275 yards, and Tannehill needs to throw the ball 5 times. So if CMC can do that for Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold or the rookie, it really doesn't matter who Carolina's really rolling out with.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we that was the initial thought when Darnold got to Carolina. He's got some relief. I mean, even Chuba Hubbard coming into the league, was promising. He's done some things here and there. He, could show flashes in the sophomore season. But if you do have a healthy CMC, some guys on the outside, hopefully they get a lot better play calling this year. I do think Baker can do some things, and it wasn't his choice, man. If Baker really ever wanted to play football again, um, it was kind of them or Seattle. I mean, this is kind of his shot here. I mean, if he can go out and win the job, and compete, and if Carolina goes out and wins 8 or 9 games this year, depending on if maybe they make the wild card, I mean, that saves that man a job. So I mean, I just don't, it maybe not be the best fit, but in terms as a player and want to continue to play, between Carolina and Seattle, what was really the option?
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle, but
I mean, you're fighting against Drew Lock, who's just a turnover machine. You have DK Metcalf. You have Tyler Lockett. You now have Noah Fant as your tight end. I mean, that is just endless of weapons. You have Chris Carson in the backfield.
Hall of Fame
Um,
coach. There's a lot of things. But Russell Wilson
but
couldn't
Seattle
couldn't
didn't
really
want
win
him
with that.
though.
Yeah, and even Wilson couldn't win, um, with the roster. I mean, you can have all those things, but without the offensive line, it's kind of, and then not to mention Seattle goes through running backs. Chris Carson's always hurt. Rashard Penny's always hurt, and it's just. I think they have Mike Davis at one. I mean, was it Mike Davis? I believe at one point, and they're just cycling
Yeah.
through guys, and they keep getting hurt. Fant's a nice addition, I believe as well. Um, but both kind of, both in a way similar, and I do think that either way he steps in and takes that role. But I mean, I guess Seattle really wants to see what they got with Locke. I guess.
As a Denver fan, I can tell you, he's either going to be great or he's going to be awful. There's no in between with Drew Lock. I mean, we saw him play awful teams and throw three interceptions, and then week 17 he goes into Kansas City and almost beats uh, Patrick Mahomes. So you really never know what you're going to get with Drew Lock, but Drew Lock's got an arm and a half. I mean, he's a big,
Huge
big,
arm.
strong guy who can, throw the ball. I think he's going to fit really well in Seattle. I mean, being able to throw it to DK Metcalf, throw it to Tyler Lockett, I mean, it's a nice fit for him. But, I mean, we can wait till next week, or we could do a little preview now with the British Open coming up, I believe next week.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really looked into much of it, but curious on your thoughts.
I'm excited Tiger's coming back and playing in the British Open at the old course of St. Andrews. I was kind of wondering what the deal was, why he didn't play in the U.S. Open. He said there's no way he could have played. His legs were bothering him, and he really wanted to play at St. Andrews. And it only makes sense. Tiger, at this point of his career, with the car accident and the back and everything, he's just gonna play tournaments now where he knows the course and knows he can have a chance to win. I mean, um, if you play a course enough times, no matter how bad you feel, once you get out there and you play a couple practice rounds and you make the cut, especially a guy like Tiger, I mean, anything is possible. So it's good to have Tiger back. I'm really wondering if we're going to hear a ton of stuff about the LIV, the Live tour again, like they bombarded every single player at the U.S. Open, and you know, Brooks Koepka played like dog shit, and he left for Live right after the U.S. Open. So I wonder which big name goes after the British Open, who has a bad week out in Scotland.
Yeah, it could be something. I was watching some of those LIV interviews too. Really weird. Just like they were asking, like it was just like so untraditional. Some of these like interview, like the reporters were asking these guys just generalized questions that were just so unfit for golf and like what you expect out of a golf tournament. Like usually be like, oh, what do you think about how's the course playing today? Like they played like a practice round or like just something, you know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. And it's just like they were like, oh, what do you eat for dinner? Just like random shit. I was like, what is this? And I guess it's just what I like. It's just a different type of thing. So, um, I got to get watching some more LIV stuff. I don't even know where you can get it at right now. In terms of like streaming, where it's even being played. YouTube, I think live right now. I think they're doing that there.
Probably.
But yeah, we'll dive into some stuff, especially over on the Patreon, dude. You've been killing it for golf, so if you can get some stuff going over there for sure. For some of the guys on there who are big golf guys, definitely winning some green.
Yeah, I'm gonna be peppering it. The big thing is those picks are gonna come out at like midnight, since you tee off at like 4 or 5 in the morning, Eastern time, us here in New York. So it's gonna be fun. I think I'm gonna pepper some for the tournament. I want to say it's the Scottish Open that they do right before the British Open. So that's going on this week. So honestly, it could be starting in a couple of hours. So after this, I might start cranking out some stuff over on the Patreon. Everything's going to be linked in the description below. But like Dale said in the beginning, highly recommend joining the Patreon for only $10. I mean, you get early, late MLB. You got UFC. We're going to be covering a ton of golf. So check it out. Find it at patreon.com/upstate.
Yeah, man. Yeah, excited we got this one out. Kind of bounced around a little bit in terms of topics and whatnot. However, it's all fun, and appreciate you guys all every single one of you guys who comes out and watches these. They're super fun to do.
Without a doubt. And honestly, like, comment, and subscribe. You don't want to miss out when we post. Dale might be coming out with some summer league stuff over here on the YouTube. Definitely over on the Patreon. A ton more. A ton more. I don't know. I can't even talk. There's gonna be a ton of more MLB content. We might actually do a couple of videos breaking down the Open. So check that out. Turn on the bell notifications. You don't want to miss. You don't want to miss out.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We'll catch you on the next video. Peace out.